So anyhow, as I was saying, it's been an incredible 6 weeks of working with the pineal gland daily, and one of the things is if you want to engage the kind of the clearing and the activation of the pineal, it is a daily practice, and it takes. I would recommend, it takes a few times a day, probably at least minimum, to check in and begin to. And we're going to do a meditation at the end, so you'll know how to check in, and I'll check with each and every one of you at different times too, not just today, but in the future as well, if it's something that you're wanting to pursue. But keep in mind, it does take that, I would say, a commitment on a daily basis. And the cool thing about it is you can integrate this knowledge into any daily meditation you're doing. As a matter of fact, I would recommend probably replacing some of this wisdom here with what you maybe do in your day-to-day meditation. But you'll know what feels right to you. So, trust your own inner guidance with this. So the pineal gland, here we are. It's located deep in the center of the brain. The pineal gland is also known as or associated with the third eye. The pineal gland produces melatonin, which helps maintain circadian rhythm and regulates reproductive hormones. The major endocrine glands include the pineal, the pituitary, pancreas, ovaries, testes, thyroid gland, parathyroid, and the adrenal glands. So you can see this. The endocrine system that's another thing that I've worked with at times. It's if you just even take a moment, before we go on, just take a moment and think about your endocrine system. Think about the whole system, not just the individual glands. But as we bring our attention to things, energy moves in that direction. So if you think about your endocrine system, the whole system will begin to light up. And if you practice that for a while, you'll start to notice it. You'll literally feel it light up in your system as you pay attention to it. The endocrine system secretes hormones into the blood and other body fluids. These chemicals are important for metabolism, growth, water, and mineral balance, and response to stress. Most of us can feel that in our own systems. When we get stressed, it throws us out of whack. Hormones provide feedback to the brain that affect neuroprocessing. The third eye, or sixth chakra, is a mystical and esoteric concept referring to an inner eye which provides perception beyond ordinary sight, such as in clairvoyance and other psychic phenomena. In certain dharmic spiritual traditions, such as Hinduism, the third eye refers to the ajna, or brow chakra. Many of you know that. Clairvoyance and psychic phenomena too, before I go on, I just want to hit a little piece on that, is we also work with symbolic clairvoyance, and with many of you I've been working with that. I think Sutri and Rupa in particular, where we're using what I call symbolic clairvoyance to help move through awareness issues within ourselves. And I use it all the time in my own process. So we use symbols to learn through. We'll see something symbolically in our mind's eye, and it's our consciousness coming through, using that as a catalyst for our own growth. So that's a really cool phenomena, I think, that is available to us all. The pineal gland, and here we have, let me get my little pin out. Right up in here is the pineal. We're going to get to other pictures of it. It's a tiny pea-sized gland shaped like a pine cone, residing in the center of our brain. And it may hold the secrets to spiritual wisdom, inspiration, psychic awareness, and clairvoyance. I believe it does. More and more that I work with it, it's amazing what it opens up. The pineal gland is vital for physical, mental, and spiritual health, while also being a gateway to higher consciousness. It is widely believed that the pineal gland is key to our spiritual awakening and psychic abilities. Traditionally, the pineal gland is said to be the third eye chakra, otherwise known as the ajna, or eyebrow chakra, which is set back between our two physical eyes. Here is a picture of the pineal gland up close, right here. You could see when they refer to it as a pine cone, you could see the pine cone shape, the separation between the seed pieces of the pine cone. And the pineal also has those, it's almost like, I think of it as gills almost. You know how gills work when you see the pineal up close clairvoyantly. That's how it looks to me. And when I'm working on, we'll get to this, but when I'm working on it in my own self, I will see that the spaces here, as you can see, that mimic the pine cone. It's like I'll go in and help clear and clean these areas psychically, which each of you can learn to do as well. I'll help you work with that, but then we'll also learn how to do it ourselves. Scientific evidence supports the possibility that our third eye, or pineal, was once our first eye. Under the microscope, the pineal is made up of cells that have the same features as the rod-shaped light-sensitive cells found in our retinas. So once again, it's this eye, it works like an eye. And let me just interject here. I believe that the light that comes into the pineal literally comes through the crown chakra. So where the eyes take in light from our surroundings in the sun, through the eyes, the pineal takes in light through the crown chakra. Perhaps through the eyes as well, but I believe that it also, a fair amount of light comes through the crown there. The pineal gland receives signals that travel down the optic nerves. It seems the primitive third eye functioned as a sight organ before our current set of eyes. The pineal gland gives a perception of the world around us through our senses. Once again, that's that clairvoyance, taking in the frequencies and translating them into usable information. It controls the action of light upon our body and is located beneath the cerebral cortex, where the two hemispheres of the brain join. This is the place where the brain regulates consciousness and interprets the body's sensory and motor functions. So you can see the great importance here. There's something about the pineal as well, lighting up and balancing the rest of not only the brain, but truly the being itself. According to Theosophy, the pineal is an important psychophysiological center or chakra and is the source of clairvoyance and intuition. It has also been referred to as the principal seat of the soul and the portal to higher dimensions, as the pineal or third eye provides perception beyond ordinary sight. Interestingly, the pineal has been linked to the production of the psychedelic DMT. DMT is the most powerful psychedelic substance known to man. Scientific experiments have discovered DMT in the pineal gland of rats. It is believed that DMT is released during near-death experiences, and this may explain the enhanced spiritual connection and awakening that takes place. DMT brings higher awareness and wisdom. The pineal and third eye, when awakened, enable us to open up to have visions, clairvoyance, and other psychic gifts. It is vital to our spiritual growth and consciousness to keep our pineal gland clear and free of toxic substances. As we become more toxic and the pineal gland calcifies further, we lose our spiritual connection to the higher energies and the oneness with all that is. Here is I found this fascinating. I found this on the internet, this comparison. The Eye of Horus Mystery School. I don't know if how many of you are familiar with the Eye of Horus, the Egyptian Eye of Horus, and which is associated with the mystery schools. And the here you can see a picture of the pineal gland area, and this here, and the same shape pretty much over here. So it seems like the Egyptians had a very clear idea of this connection between the pineal gland and the eye of Horus. There's the left eye and right eye of Horus, which represented the right brain and left brain thinking of humans, and also the logic and the intuitive side. And there were mystery schools in ancient Egypt that represented both sides of these teachings, and they used this. The Eye of Horus, once again, is very similar in shape to the area where the pineal gland is. So we're going to talk a little bit more about how to support the pineal gland and the things that don't support it here. Through a poor diet, exposure to toxins in the environment, which we all are exposed to, of course, and the food we eat, stress in modern life, the pineal gland gets hardened, then calcified, and eventually shuts down. It is also suppressed by electromagnetic fields released by mobile phones, computers, other wireless devices. The pineal gland is especially sensitive to fluoride in the water. This is a big one. If you look on the internet, there's a lot of stuff on the pineal gland and calcification due to the fluoride in the water. Fluoride and other chemical substances like chlorine are bad for the pineal as they deposit on tissue rich in calcium, such as the pineal. Let's see, do I have a typo there? The gland calcifies when it encounters fluoride. These calcifications are referred to as brain sand and are made up of calcium phosphate, calcium carbonate, magnesium phosphate, and ammonium phosphate. So probably everybody here on the call, one of the things I noticed when I started working with my pineal gland daily this last 6 weeks is that there was a lot of calcification on it. Psychically, clairvoyantly, I could see that. But we begin to clean that, and we're going to get into how to support that as well. Chemicals are harmful to the pineal gland and come from everyday activities. For example, fluoride is found in most toothpastes and tap water. Likewise, food laden with pesticides, preservatives, and chemicals cause the pineal gland to become sluggish and lose its vitality and power. It is also believed that calcium supplements are detrimental to our health, and that it's better to gain calcium through our diet than calcium-rich foods, such as almonds, leafy green vegetables, and tahini. It is important to detoxify the body in order to decalcify the pineal gland. In today's world, we are affected by an enormous range of chemicals. The air we breathe, the water we drink, the food we eat, our diets, and contemporary lifestyle are the main causes of calcification. The pineal gland is very sensitive to chemicals and is said due to modern lifestyles, the pineal gland has shrunk. It is believed that Indian masters of old had a pineal gland the size of a lemon. Well, I'm not sure about that. If you can imagine a lemon in the middle of your brain, if that just seems a little exaggerated maybe. But in modern times, our pineal gland is the size of a small seed or pea. The primary goal of decalcifying your pineal gland is so that you can begin the process of pineal gland activation and awaken your third eye. Here we have a kind of a depiction of the pineal gland as a pine cone again. Some of the psycho-spiritual affliction of a calcified pineal gland. I found this very, very interesting. Confusion and delusions, an impaired perception of reality, a tendency to overanalyze, depression and anxiety, paranoia, neurological disorders, pessimism, jealousy, and envy. Once again, when you start to decalcify, heal, cleanse, and activate, and really kind of in that order, you cannot activate a highly calcified pineal gland, but you can cleanse it and then begin to activate it. So we're going to take this all step by step here. And first thing is bringing awareness to it, and begin the cleansing process, and then eventually the activation as well. So detoxification is a two-part process. Firstly, ensuring that no further calcification takes place, while at the same time reversing the calcification that has already occurred. This may require some lifestyle changes. The most important one being to drink pure water. Other lifestyle changes are to limit or stop the intake of sugar, caffeine, tobacco, alcohol, and eat organic, natural whole foods that are not laced with pesticides and genetic modifications. So of course, I don't know, I had coffee this morning myself, and certain things you're not going to probably give up, and that's okay, but there's workarounds. Some of the ways to detoxify the pineal gland are by including chlorella, spirulina, wheatgrass in your diet. Oregano oil, which is what I use actually, is also a wonderful way of detoxing and encouraging the pineal gland activation and clarity. Raw apple cider vinegar, which I also use daily, and pure cocoa have a great effect on the pineal as well. Once we've cleared the pineal gland of toxins, we can work on awakening the third eye. A simple way of activating the third eye is through meditation, especially meditating with your attention on the third eye area. Now, I've done that meditation off and on for years in yogic practices where you meditate on the third eye. And you can do that, but we're also going to talk about meditating specifically on the pineal gland. Sun gazing was a potent way in ancient times to activate the pineal and third eye. Great Himalayan masters practiced Surya Yoga by gazing at the rising sun with a silver coin placed between the eyebrows on the forehead. At dawn, the Earth's magnetic field is charged, making this the best time to meditate as it stimulates the pineal gland. Apparently at dawn, the negatively charged pineal and positively charged pituitary come together to create a light in the head. Now that was new information to me. I never had heard that before, but I started playing with it, and I think there's a lot of truth to that. So here's another picture of kind of to give you an idea spatially where the pineal is located in your own brain. The pineal gland often appears black or red in meditation. So when you start to look for the pineal in your mind's eye, it's going to probably look red or black in meditation at the beginning. If it looks another color, that's fine too. But that's generally how it shows up for people. Various ways to detox and support the pineal gland. Spend time in natural sunlight every day. Let the sunlight into your eyes and the top of the head. Don't wear sunglasses. I've not worn sunglasses for over 20 years, probably getting closer to 25 now, I'd say. And I really notice the difference. Letting the light in your eyes, letting the light in the top of the head. Sleep in complete darkness. Oregano oil is something that just in the last 6 weeks I started using after doing this research, and I've noticed a difference, subtle yet noticeable difference, taking the oregano oil. Oregano oil is also great for killing mold within your system too, so it's a really powerful I think it has antibacterial type of qualities as well. Chlorella, spirulina, and wheatgrass, raw apple cider vinegar, chocolate. Commit to regular meditation practice, as this will develop and enhance your pineal gland. Yogic practices are very potent methods for awakening the pineal gland. I think probably all of you at one time or another have probably practiced some of that. When you meditate, you put, with your eyes closed, you put your eyes towards the brow. Inversions, I don't think any of us are going to probably be doing any of those, but it's another thing that really helps. Hanging upside down, basically, inversions, or standing on your head are particularly helpful. as they increase blood flow to the pineal while you're upside down. And of course, eating organic leafy green vegetables. I know that right now I'm not on a big green drink kick, but I go on and off of that. And what I'm doing, like green smoothies, with spinach or kale and all those good green stuff in there and drinking that raw, I notice kind of an uptick in my clairvoyant abilities and my ability to tune in even stronger to spirit. I tend to go through cycles with that, going on and off of those. Cut back or completely remove, of course, sugar, alcohol, tobacco, calcium supplements, and use your own judgment there. The things that are probably not good for you. Don't take any fluoride in any form, tap water, toothpaste, etc. I just love this picture. How to put it in there. I found it on the internet. I thought it was kind of interesting. These are great things to help enhance the pineal gland. You see the list. I'm not going to read them each one, but you can look and kind of make some mental notes and kind of get the idea of what's good for it. I kind of like this thing. It kind of reminds me of some of you may know this, but I spent a couple of years ago, I took 3 different trips down to the Amazon and worked with shamans in the Amazon and Ecuador and Peru, working with ayahuasca, which also has DMT in it, ayahuasca ceremonies. And some of the visions are kind of similar to this picture here, which allows you to open up to the spiritual life of everything. Really, you can see the spirit of plants and animals, and that's the DMT. And you don't need to have the ayahuasca experience to be able to access that in your own consciousness. Very, very powerful, very, very healing experience. And I like this. It kind of shows there's a Fibonacci. Those of you who are familiar with the sacred geometry, and Fibonacci is kind of this order, geometric order that's in literally everything in nature. And you can see it here in the pine cone. When the pineal gland begins to open and activate, you'll usually feel a pressure at the base of the brain, kind of where the in the back, the kind of where the skull is, where the what's the word I'm looking for? The medulla area back there. You'll feel a pressure back there, usually as it begins to activate and open. So this is a picture that I'm not going to go too in depth to, because this is a whole thing around activation. We're not going to do what's called the full activation today. What we're going to do is begin to bring awareness to the pineal gland. This is not one of those things where you activate it, boom, you're done. This is more of a thing where you slowly bring your attention to it daily and build and build and build with it. This is through another type of activation that a teacher that I was very familiar with in my early awakening, by the name of Drunvalo Melchizedek. He actually lives in Sedona. He teaches years ago he taught what's called the ancient secret to the flower of life. It's based in sacred geometry. And he also teaches a particular type of pineal gland activation, but it's not what we're doing here exactly. But this picture kind of shows what I want to bring people's attention to is not necessarily the white cones of light coming out of the head right now, but specifically to this area. You see, it's kind of in the center of the head. And what we're looking for here in the meditation is something, after you begin working with it for a while, what you'll notice is the pineal gland does almost develop what looks like an aura or a halo around it, kind of like right there. And that's what we're going to be looking for first. We're not going for the full activation. You need to balance it. You need to kind of decalcify, cleanse it. And then at some point, and I don't know if this is the right activation that's actually right for everybody, but what we're really looking for is just this area right here. But it gives you an idea. Okay, that's the kind of the practical learning information part of this webinar. We're going to go in a minute to um, doing the meditation around it. Let's come back to this one. But before we do that, I'd like to open up the call here to anybody who would like to ask any. Okay, we got some other people joined us, I see. If anybody would like to ask questions, this is a great time. Is there any part of this that's confusing or needs some clarification? This is interactive. Matter of fact, we're not moving on until we get a little bit of feedback here. So I'm trying to unmute people. So any questions, anybody?
Kenton, can you hear me?
Yes. Is this
Hi,
Vidya?
Yes, it's
Hi.
Vidya. Hi. The question I have is, if one is picturing where this is exactly, is it like behind the ear into the brain, or is it along, like about level where the ear is, or?
It's about level where the ear is. Yeah, that's
So it kind of, you
it's funny.
focus on
I'm
the ear.
checking on myself. I haven't thought of it that way. But yeah, it's kind of really in the center, like pretty. It's interesting when we look at this picture here. It doesn't necessarily feel exactly in the center, but when I tune into it myself, it feels very centered in
Yeah, the
my.
picture, it feels kind of low, doesn't it?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And this is probably accurate, but the way, when you take into account the skull, the ears, the nose, the face, everything else that's added on, my sense is it's pretty centralized is how it shows up for me in my meditation. But maybe a little bit above the ears, I guess. I think it's a little bit above the ears. Yeah. I haven't thought of it that way, but that's a great question. You can actually go ahead and use your what I recommend here is here let me talk about this at my experience a little bit is what I recommend is everybody just take a moment right now, close your eyes, and ask for your intuition, your spirit, to guide you to your pineal gland. So we're going to shift out of the logic training part of this webinar into the intuitive based part now. So let's just take a moment and tune into our intuition and allow our intuition, our inner wisdom to guide us to our pineal gland. And it'll probably I don't want to dictate how it's going to show up for you really, but it'll probably show up as kind of a small little thing at first, or maybe it'll show up as a bigger thing. Who knows, but just let it show up however it shows up and don't question it too much. So I'm kind of going to just kind of check each one of you as we go along here. I'm just Okay, is there anybody who feels like they're having difficulty or feels maybe difficulty is not the right word, but feels like you're not connecting? Please speak up. Now, I'm going to tell you, I'm going to teach you how it works for me. And you can augment this. So you're by no means, if you start, if as I explain it, how it works for me, and if another way shows up, run it by me, but maybe it's right for you. Just because this particular way works for me doesn't mean it's going to necessarily be the way for you. So as I begin to tune into it, what happens for me is it's as if there's and this is somewhat symbolic, but it's also on one level literal as well, I believe, is it's like there's a tube of light. It's like a tube, a little column, not very wide. Sometimes it's a little wider than other times, but maybe it starts out only an inch or 2 inches at the most in width, maybe an inch. And this tube comes down from above my head. It comes down through the crown. So to me, it's representative. It's symbolic of the light coming down through the top of the crown and into the pineal gland. So that's the experience I have. So you allow your crown to open, and maybe you want to use this symbolic picture of a tube of light. For me, that helps center me and focus on the process, and allowing what we call a source light, it's coming down through the crown, to come on down and into the pineal gland and to begin to feed the pineal gland. So we'll just take a moment here. We're just going to begin to go into this meditation now. Letting the pineal begin to be fed by this light. And we're just going to let it begin to glow a little bit. And maybe you'll notice that, it doesn't want to glow right away. That's okay. This is your first time going in there, and it might take days or weeks before it starts glowing, and that's okay. It doesn't mean that anything's wrong or that you should stop it, but we're going to let that light up and begin to glow a little bit. That's That's it. Now, as you're beginning to kind of connect to that, I'm getting feedback all of a sudden. Let's see. Mute everybody. So allowing that to continue. Oh, I'm getting feedback here. There we go. Allowing that to continue to continue to light up, and bringing your attention to the screen here again. We have the pineal gland here on the right side, and in particular, imagine you can see what it has the shape, kind of the shape and structure of a pine cone. To me, when I'm looking at it clairvoyantly in myself, it always shows up as kind of like where the space in between the seeds on the pine cone To me, it always looks like gills, like on a fish more when I look at the pineal in myself. That's how it shows up for me. Now, it might show up more like the pine cone for you. It doesn't really matter. We're looking at it somewhat maybe more symbolically than literally, and that's okay. Um, and you begin to kind of see where maybe the pineal in your mind's eye might need some healing or some clearing. So take your time and just begin to look at that and fluff that a little bit if you can. Like you'll look in, if you see a little dark spot, just kind of focus on that and just asking the light to come in, asking that to begin to remove any blemishes, any dark spots. And this process can take place for months, by the way. So you might go in and start working on it, and the next day you go back and it feels like it needs the same work again. That's okay. You keep doing it. That's okay. So it is something of a daily maintenance to begin to consider if this is something that you want to undertake. So we bring our attention to it and keep lighting it up. And I'm working kind of with each of you in the group here as we're doing this as well. And if you find yourself trying too hard, this process should be effortless. This is not an efforting process. If we're trying too hard, we're missing the mark here. So we're using intention, intuition, focus, but not a hard, fast focus. No efforting. So we're looking, we're seeing, we're observing ourself. We're even observing ourself, observing the pineal gland. And we gently ask more spirit to come in, more light. We check and see how does that flow feel coming down through the crown. How does that flow feel coming down the crown into the pineal? Does it feel unobstructed? As you begin to cleanse it, if you pay attention to your subtle awareness. Now, this is not going to probably happen today necessarily. You might get a glimpse of it. But as you begin to work with this over time, what will happen is, as you clear it, you'll start to see, and I've had this experience almost daily when I tune into it. You'll start to clear it, and you'll notice where there's maybe, we could say, calcification or damage to the pineal, where it creates these psychospiritual imbalances within us. I think there's a very direct relationship between the pineal and our projecting ourselves out into the world, in positive or negative ways. The pineal takes in, when it's working correctly, takes in all this information and begins to translate it either consciously or unconsciously into how we're seeing the world. Is the world a safe space? Is the world a hostile place? It is also said that the pineal gland, the light we take in through the pineal gland, is also connected to every cell in the body. And there is an experience you can begin to have. I've had moments of it, not very long lasting, but where the pineal gland, the light that's coming in through the pineal gland, and the cells align, and you can literally have the experience that every cell in your body is lighting up and even able to see the way the pineal gland is. There's in certain esoteric metaphysical writings and art, there's a suggestion of like 1,000 eyes. I don't know if any of you have seen this before, but I think that refers to the pineal aligning with all of the cells, the nucleus of all the cells in the body. So there's literally this experience you'll have where everything turns to kind of a light or reflective light. And anyhow, it's quite extraordinary when it happens, and it's an inner knowing when that occurs. That's very, very powerful. Along the same lines, there's in China, there's been blind children who've been taught to read with their fingers. They can literally read with their fingers, putting their fingers over the words and able to read every single word perfectly. These are some, I think it's a number of years ago that this was going on in China. Not very publicized, of course, but which also tells us that that's also the cells in the body are able to see what the pineal gland is able to see, I believe. So there's circuitry within our system. We're kind of what we're doing right now is beginning to awaken that circuitry between the pineal and the cells in the body. And open to that, and kind of see where we've been asleep around that too. And don't judge it, but just go, oh wow, there I am. I can see if you begin to awaken, you begin to see the contrast of where you've been asleep too, or where we've been shut down, maybe is a better way to say it. Maybe, just maybe, enlightenment is all about just this gland here. Wouldn't that be something? Enlightenment is all right here, literally lighting up the pineal gland. Maybe that's enlightenment, perhaps. Maybe it's a direct route to enlightenment. And just kind of everybody staying with everybody here in the meditation and kind of going around checking everybody's connections, helping release any resistance between the pineal and especially the crown and above. When we start activating these aspects within ourself, what also begins to occur is the resistance can come up. So as we begin to activate this, you might have some resistance, some old ways of knowing, some old structures of knowing that need to kind of be dismantled as you tune into this aspect of self, into the greater truth of who you are. Still just going around, checking with everybody. And go ahead and check as we're lighting up there. It feels like everybody's lighting up their pineal pretty well right now for for this first time or whatever in this specific meditation. But I want you to tune into it and ask for the flow and secretion of melatonin for a moment. Just check in with yourself and just feel if the pineal is producing melatonin. And if it's in the right amounts, right dosage for you. Just kind of tune into that for a moment. Trust your intuition. Let spirit speak to you here. Just trust what you get. And you can help begin, as you begin to work with the pineal more, you can help regulate the flow of melatonin, the production of melatonin. It helps balance the whole endocrine system, not just this one gland. As a matter of fact, if you start to think about it, here this gland takes in light. It's connected to the endocrine system, which has all these other very important glands attached to them, each one with a slightly different function. But if you begin to think about how important this is to our balance, to this aspect of us that's this incredibly complex, multi-layered system that we call the human body, the human energy system. And if this receives light and brings light into the mind, into the body, into the cells, how important that is. And just feel that for yourself, that importance, that connection, that the complexity. Once again, we look at these little, I call them the gills. They feel like gills to me. The little spaces in between, like little flaps of land. And I like to go through and kind of just intuitively, psychically kind of go through and cleanse them and fluff them a little bit and see more light coming in, kind of, treating it with respect and kindness and healing. And that's how all healing work really works. We look at it, we love it with our look, we see it in its wholeness, and we use our intention, our light, to begin to gently heal it in gentle ways, not forcing anything. Once again, when this starts to light up, there's a particular inner competence and confidence around your own spiritual being that will begin to anchor in. And it's hard to describe until once you start feeling it, you'll know it when you feel it. But it's a non-arrogant assuredness. It's a very grounded in humility and truth, awareness of connection to spirit. As a matter of fact, you can then begin to track when you're not feeling connected, probably most likely has to do with the well-being at any given moment of this gland. Once again, this very well could be the thing that takes us all to enlightenment very quickly. Okay, we're going to gently start coming out of the meditation, somewhat, and still stay in a meditative space, but we're going to bring our attention back into real world present time. But still keeping that lit up. And let's see, we're going to go gently coming back. We're going to talk again about this. Everybody, we're going to kind of come back. It's time to share. I want to hear, definitely want to hear some feedback, everybody. This is interactive. This work is interactive. And it's not just for you who interact with me, but also the group. But asking questions is also helping others learn through the process here. So, or sharing experiences, asking questions, sharing what your experience is. So I'd love to hear some feedback, people.
Well, can you hear me?
Yeah, who's this?
Sutria.
Hi, Sutria.
When we first started,
Mm-hmm.
the symbol that I had was sort of like the pictures of the solar eclipse that they're showing, with the dark center, but light out behind it, light out around it.
Oh, interesting. Yeah. Okay, good.
And then as we went into the meditation, that everything seemed to sort of gray, but gray out in a good way, in the sense that the light and the dark were coming together.
Uh-huh.
And then as we were coming to the end of the meditation, I was very much experiencing what you were describing as that sense of spiritual well-being.
I can hear it in your voice. There's something in your voice I can hear that's very strong right now.
Yeah, well, I really was feeling it. It was like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, I get it. This is it. Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome.
So it was awesome. It was good.
Good. Awesome, Sutri. I can hear it in your voice. There's a vibration in you coming through that's just beautiful and strong.
Yeah, it felt good.
Yeah.
And does it have a color?
It's usually, you mean the pineal itself?
Well, I guess more like the sixth chakra. What color is it?
Oh, that's the sixth chakra is indigo color. But
so I kind of,
yeah, you saw that too, didn't you? Yeah.
I was kind of getting, I wouldn't say it was indigo. It was flashes of kind of gold and more like a teal, I think.
Huh. Okay.
But blue, I don't know, blue anyway, kind of flashes of gold and blue.
Yeah. I'm not to be over the years I've learned not to get too caught up in what color people say certain chakras are. As a matter of fact, as our vibration on the whole planet is changing, I believe the qualities of the way that we perceive the chakras is changing a lot too. So depending on our vibration depends on how we perceive things. Not necessarily how that thing is, but how we perceive it.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't get too caught up on the specific colors, and trust your experience. And Sutria, I like what you shared, and I could feel your experience was very genuine, very authentic. I could feel that vibration coming through you, and beautiful. So thank you. Yeah, trust that. Yeah. What did I want to say? There was something. Oh boy, it was right there. Now it's gone. A couple things. One is, so for the last week or probably the last 2 weeks, I've begun to work consciously with each of you that I knew that we're going to be on the webinar. And I don't know if anybody, you probably may or may not have felt it, but beginning to bring the group together like I do before any webinar really, and kind of unifying the energy, getting things kind of moving. Now, what I want to get to with that is, if you go ahead and take this, if this is something that you as an individual want to pursue and to really work in this area more, like on a daily basis, if you're committing to it, you'll have my support fully too. And that will really help. But you're going to have to commit to it. You'll get from it, and you'll get from me whatever level you commit to it. If you commit really deeply to it, meditating in this, kind of on a daily basis, you'll have my support from the ethers as well to help clear and open and so on. As a matter of fact, that's true with all the work I do. The more that a person wants, the more I give. But you have to be open to doing the work and kind of sitting with it. This is a process. That's why I'm saying it. It's not something that you do for a week or two and then kind of, oh, that's it. It's something that if you do will support you tremendously, but you'll have to commit to it on a daily basis. I personally use I started using oregano oil probably about a month ago, I think now, something like that, 5 weeks ago. And I've noticed a difference with it. It's a wonderful supplement, I think, to take with this. I also use the apple cider vinegar daily. I use a little bit of that in salads I eat and stuff like that. And meditation, of course, on a daily basis. I use meditation and contemplation. I think contemplation is it's more of a Western practice. Meditation is more of an Eastern practice. But, contemplation is something that you kind of work with. And as you go through your day, you don't have to stop and sit, by the way. Contemplation, you kind of work with something or grapple with something as you're going through the day. Let's see, what else? Working with it, just how we were doing now in meditation. You can tune into the pineal gland. For years, I used to tune into the sixth chakra, the third eye. Especially in doing yoga, especially Kundalini yoga, I would focus up on that point, and it was always very powerful. There's another mechanism in there that we'll get to at some point maybe, but if you look at, I believe if you look at the symbol for the sixth chakra, the Hindu symbol, there's a pyramid in it, and like a triangle in it, and that triangle also represents another part in there called the centrum that John Upledger talks about. He's the creator of cranial sacral work, and we can go into that at some other point in time. That doesn't seem as important at this moment, but that helps translate what we call this God source information into usable wisdom and knowledge. But let's see, let me get back on track here. What I would recommend doing is really focusing on the pineal, how we were today. And then at some point, you can also bring in the third eye and do both simultaneously. But I've found a much greater bang for the buck just focusing on the pineal and that tube of light coming through. Let's get some more feedback. Any questions? I'd love to hear more of your experiences. Anybody else? Please share.
Well, I had an interesting thing where it says inversions are helpful as they increase the blood flow.
Yeah.
What I experienced was almost like a fire that came through. Like it was red and it was glowing.
Uh-huh.
And it then started to sit inside, and then it kind of like it melted, and there wasn't even a color. There was more of an experience.
Uh-huh.
But after it kind of melted through,
mm-hmm.
I don't know what else happened, but it was very, very sweet and nice.
Good.
I also felt a heaviness initially.
Uh-huh. My sense is, you'll feel the heaviness could be, once again, that as you do this, you cannot explain it unless you experience it. But when you do this for a while, there'll be different stages of breaking through. And I don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves, but what happens is literally the way that you operate in the world will change. The way you interface with reality will change very, very drastically. It's almost kind of like the difference between, you maybe in spiritual teachings you've heard this contrast before, But for instance, if you take for instance a newspaper, comic strip on a newspaper, and the funnies, the cartoons, and you read it, you like the Peanuts or whatever, and we look at that and go, oh, we're reading these comics. But what if those actually had a life form? They're two-dimensional. They have this life form, and they experience everything in that two-dimensional reality. Well, in some ways, and then that, let's say Charlie Brown, for instance, the Peanuts, was to be pulled off of that and brought into third-dimensional reality, the reality that we're most familiar with here. And all of a sudden, everything would be so substantially different, you couldn't even really explain it. The change and the difference is so great. Well, working with the pineal gland, there'll be breakthroughs to that extent, really. In many ways, I don't know if you've heard the term flatlander, but in many ways, we're flatlanders the way that we go about interfacing with our reality, even with our spiritual practices. But with this pineal gland in particular, something will begin to happen where there'll be a significant breakthrough. There'll be, if you practice it, and there'll be levels of it. There'll be a very, very significant breakthrough. But Gamila, the reason I'm bringing this up is probably, my guess is what you felt the heaviness was the resistance to the old and the new kind of hitting up against each other. That's my sense about that. So as you move through these things, there's always resistance as we move forward. All of you know that, I think. And that isn't something that should stop us or should even really concern us or even take much of our attention, but it's there. And know that when resistance comes up, it means that we want to keep going. We stay the course. Doesn't mean that we stop because we feel the resistance, but we kind of stay the course and keep going forward. Did you notice, Gomila, the heaviness was there and then it wasn't? Was that the experience?
Oh, exactly.
Yeah. So that's that.
It was like a momentary thing, and then there was this. It's almost like hot steel that in the cold. It's like it just started to just burn. It was, yeah. So
it's probably stuff burning off.
Yeah, that's probably what happened.
Yeah. Once again, I've been practicing building the energy for this webinar for some time. It's not like I just threw it to get a webinar. I've been literally building the energy for weeks, and in the last 2 weeks or something, kind of beginning to work on each of you individually, and then culminating, into this webinar right now. And that's why I say we have this momentum here. And if this is something I would encourage you each to really think about, is this something you want to pursue in your own time? And as you do the meditation on it, and it doesn't take a whole lot, you do it, even if you did it like 5 minutes 3 times a day or something, you can even do it after you start doing it for a while. You can do it while you're driving. You don't have to sit down and close your eyes. You just tune into that area while you're doing other things. So matter of fact, you want to tune in when you're doing other things. It's not something you do just in meditation and then you come out of meditation and you're not connected to it. So it's about making this thing become almost an involuntary, reflex in you that you begin to, you work with it, build it, and it begins to take on a life of its own. But it needs to be fed every day and detox too. So anyhow, and whatever energy you put into it, Spirit, Source, myself will also put that energy into it with you individually as well. So who else would like to share? Anybody else? Any questions?
Okay, I just want to say that I had all kinds of stuff going on, and I do feel your support, and I would like to continue with this.
Okay.
And, that's about it. I mean, I could share, but okay. Right from the beginning, there was a shape, and I thought it was a rose, except I later realized it was more like a rose with a center going up. and the
Mhm.
petals were like those open gills you talked about. So I
Yeah.
realized that it was not actually a rose. It was more like I was thinking it was an odd-looking rose.
Mhm.
And it was in the beginning, it was giving off a pink light, but it
Uh-huh.
doesn't matter. I mean, the colors keep changing.
Right.
Later, as we went on, I kept finding my head. I think I have to call myself the queen of resistance, not me, but my personality,
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
because I kept finding my head would shake, my whole face would distort, my
Uh-huh.
mouth would open wide, and my tongue would stick out. I'd be going like that. And I was thinking, when you said don't try hard, I thought, am I trying hard? Is that why it's doing
No.
all this? And I also had the image of Guru Raj standing above me, pouring water down through my crown chakra.
Wow.
And he was just pouring and pouring and
Yeah.
pouring water. And at first, all of this crap was coming out through the gills.
Yeah.
And oh, it was really revolting. And then I thought, oh, good. Oh, good. Oh, please. Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Get rid of it.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
Also, at some point, I felt that connection you talked about where it connects to all the cells. And
Yeah.
I didn't feel it fully. I just had little moments, like
Yeah.
flashes of it. And that was really beautiful. And
Yeah.
I am excited because I've got so many things going on in my body and psyche right now,
Yeah.
which are
I-
difficult, painful, resistant, nasty, and
Yeah.
just plain bleh.
Yeah.
This seems like a wonderful way to
I think so, Rupa. Yeah.
oh, so that was wonderful. And after a while, it was just this pure water flowing down through the crown, and it felt really good. Oh my
Yeah.
Lord.
Yeah. I think.
So thank you for your support. Please continue to give it.
Okay. Okay, great. And I think what we'll do is this is my sense. So if those of you who want to embark on this journey I would recommend, I would highly recommend the oregano oil to everybody. You can get it's inexpensive. I get mine on Amazon. It's I use the brand I bought is the one I got the hit off of is Now NOW brand.
How much do you recommend taking?
I take now I think the Now brand is a very higher dosage, and I've read something on the internet about a dosage, but the amount I'm taking, I believe, is at least 3 times that dose. And I'm personally taking, and I'm following my own guidance on it, but I've started out and I'm still taking they're little gel caps, and I'm taking 2 of those a day. I think they're 450 milligrams each, but I could be wrong. I could be mistaken. And I believe that the recommend is probably at half that or less, but I'm taking them twice a day. I'm taking 2 in the morning and 2 in the evening. Sometimes every now and then I'll forget to take them in the evening. So, but 4/5 of the time I'm taking them twice a day.
So are you saying that you're taking 4 every day?
Yes, I'm taking 4 caps every day, and I like to split them up, in the morning and the evening. I personally, I use.
Are you burping oregano oil all day and all night?
No, not at all. I haven't felt any of that. None.
Oh, you have to ask.
Yeah, none of that. Um, Also, I use the raw apple cider vinegar. I use that anyhow daily, almost daily, because I like it, and I put a couple capfuls on my salad, and so that I get in there too. I go through. It's funny. So this morning, in all transparency here, this morning I wake up because of the. I've been tuned into this, and my pineal is lit up like probably never before this morning, just because I've been working on, and today's the webinar, so it's really, really lit up. And then I go and get a cup of coffee, and guess what happens? I feel it shutting down. And I literally notice that, and I'm a part-time coffee drinker. Sometimes I'll drink coffee, sometimes I don't. And but today I did, and I noticed it reacting adversely to the coffee pretty quickly. And so it's interesting, and we make these choices. I'm not saying don't drink coffee, but you'll start to notice these things that, when you, for instance, when I go through periods of time where I'm drinking my smoothies, which I haven't been recently. I'm probably going to start again, I think, the next day or two. I'll go for weeks or a month where I have one or two of these green drinks that I make at home, fresh veggies. And I notice a big difference in, first of all, my well-being, but also uh, my clairvoyant and psychic and spiritual abilities all kind of heighten when I'm doing that. And that's a very big support for the pineal, I know. Anyhow.
One more thing, Kenton.
Yeah.
I am supposed to take a lot of extra calcium supplements 3 times a day.
I thought about that for you. I think I remember that, and I was thinking about that yesterday for you. Yeah.
And I think that I'm going to keep taking them. I think that I think I'm going to have to. I think my belief system is such. I think I need to do that.
I'm not. So. Yeah, and that's the thing is we all, are whether we're exposed to all these different things. Our diets aren't perfect, so it's not. And I wouldn't say worry about that stuff, Rupa. And
thank you.
And we can overcome. My sense is we can overcome a lot of it with energy, but this is also why you have to do it daily. Like for instance, I notice I have to fluff mine up, daily a few times because of the toxins I believe that are, in my system and my environment and I eat a really, for the most part, I eat a really good diet, but I'm not perfect, and so it's and I don't believe in being that.
It's just odd to have a body where your bones require calcium and your pineal gland says, no, thank you.
Yeah.
So it's, whatever.
Yeah.
I will be done. Whoa.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sort yourself out, buddy. Whatever.
So, and what we could do is my sense is in at least 6 or 8 weeks, we could do another call like this to kind of go to the next place with this and with everybody if people want to do that. My sense of probably about 8 weeks. If you're going to go ahead and start this, you want to work on your pineal every day and then take some oregano. I like the oregano oil, but if something else draws you, do that. And here, let me go back. Give me a second. I'm going to go back to this list here. I just like that little bean in there. But here's a list, so you can look at this list. Neem oil is probably really good. I think blue-green algae is really good. Sea moss, turmeric. I'm not using turmeric right now, but often I use it a lot. Coconut oil I use every day. So you get the idea. Lemon water I use often.
You think you could send us that page that, I don't have time to write all this down and get all that, and there's no way my memory's going to work to get it all.
Who is that talking? Who is this?
Sutria.
Hi, Sutria. Sure. Yeah. Or, this is recorded, this webinar, and I'm going to send out I could probably send out just this one too, but I'm going to send out the recording too of the whole webinar, so you guys will have can listen to it again. But yeah, I could probably send that out. What
is something like some of these? I don't even know what these are. I wouldn't even know where to go to look for them.
I don't know what all of them are either. The go-to cola I've heard of, but I've never used that. Boron, I'm not sure what that is. I think I've heard of it, but I'm not sure. I think is it like a mineral or something, boron? I'm not positive.
Yeah,
it's a mineral?
Yes.
Yeah, but I don't know what spirulina is.
Spirulina?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Oh, that's pretty common actually. Spirulina, it's like a green algae. It's fairly well known. It's pretty popular. It's full of chlorophyll. And you can buy that. I've eaten spirulina a lot in the past. Or blue-green. I think blue-green algae is even better. There's I haven't thought of this for a long time. There's a type of blue green algae from the Pacific Northwest that's supposed to be really good. It's It's from the state of Washington, I think. It has a particular name. Boy, I can't remember what it is. But anyhow, there's a blue-green algae is very good. What was the other one that it's not on this list, but chlorella. That's
Yeah, something like that.
you
Yeah.
can buy packets of that. I used to take that. And once again, this is stuff, algae that grows in it's algae that grows in ponds, basically. That's what a lot of this stuff is. Spirulina grows like that, I believe, and blue-green algae and chlorella as well. And but it's a very specific, well-grown types and has a lot of these nutrients that are very helpful. So anyhow, it's and I don't. By the way, I wouldn't say, oh, get all of these and take these all every day. I pick the ones that work for you. Be very reasonable with yourself. I think probably the most powerful part is the light that's coming through, and the meditation part. So you can make up for some of this or a lot of this through the meditation part. Okay. Any other questions, people? Any other feedback?
Kenton, this is Vidya.
Hi, Vidya.
Hello. Thank you so much for all of this.
Oh, yeah.
I just wanted to share what my experience was and see if maybe
Sure.
you might be able to tweak it a little bit. The experience I had was of a lot of sensation in the crown and a lot of sensation in the Ajna chakra. And then it was like a triangulation. That's why I was interested in hearing it more about the triangle, because then to locate, I just brought those two lines of light were pouring in, and where the third point felt like where the pineal was.
Yeah.
Although what I didn't get is like any image of a pine cone or rose or anything like
That's
that.
okay.
It was just a triangulated point deep within the brain. And then the other little piece that's really kind of fun and interesting is that over the last week, I kept getting all this sensation in both those same places, on the top of the head, in the pineal, in the ajna.
Yeah.
And I actually, sitting several times, took my hand and kind of rubbed the top of the head, because I kept thinking, what is this? What is all this sensation in the top of the head?
Yeah.
So, so it was going on all last week.
Yeah,
So,
you were probably feeling, my guess is you were probably feeling the work I was doing on all of you beforehand. Yeah. So.
Exactly. That was when you said that, I thought, oh, maybe that's what that was all last week.
Yeah.
But anyway, it was just a lot of light, but I couldn't get any picture.
That's okay. Yeah, I wouldn't, once again, everybody's experience is unique unto them. And by no means, I'm not one who believes you have to look at it this way. First of all, your experience feels very authentic, and it also feels very comprehensive. The fact that you're getting these different points, which I think that's what we're working towards, is that. So you maybe you're a little bit ahead even, here. So not that anybody's behind or ahead. That's not a good value system to go by here, but or another way to say it is you're receiving it and holding it a particular way for the group too. I think that there's something about usually a group coming together like this, that sometimes one person will pull through one aspect and another person's pulling through another aspect, and kind of as the group assimilates it, all of it comes together. So I would just trust the process. It feels really authentic and genuine. So does it feel good to you, Vidya, the whole experience? Or
oh yes, and I'll continue doing that on a daily basis. I like it. We'll just
good.
Add it.
Exactly. Just add it. Yeah. And I don't know what all of your meditations specifically are, but I find it's really helpful to have some. It's funny because I think there's a lot of different ideas and confusion around meditation, I believe. And I personally, now this is personally, I like, and not only like, but really need something to meditate on. I don't just sit there and clear, I can clear my mind and go into pure awareness, but that's not how I like to meditate. I'll do that just kind of through my day sometime, into that place of pure awareness. But what I like doing in meditation is having something to actually focus on. I'm constantly working on something in my meditations. So last 6, 8 weeks or something, it's been this. And I've noticed just this incredible, it's like, boy, why don't I been doing this more of this for years? Why don't people really do this for their spiritual connection? Anyhow, I think all of you will really like it and benefit very much. And as you said, Vidya, you can feel the energy coming through the crown, which is
Yes.
what we want to be accessing. Yeah. Wonderful. Who else? Anybody else? Come on.
Kenton, I just want to make a correction. I forgot to mention that it wasn't just water that Guru Raj was pouring. It was something I never really experienced that way before.
Yeah.
It was made of light.
Yeah.
But it was
like
also
liquid light.
It was like liquid light, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm
That's
familiar
what
with that. Yeah.
poured. Okay, right. Well,
Yeah.
I didn't. That was new to me.
Cool.
And then when that gets poured later, that goes down to all of the cells.
Yeah.
Little bits of liquid light up the center of all the cells.
Yeah, it's a different type of light. You'll notice it. There's
Right. It's something I wasn't familiar with.
And we'll get into all that down the road too. But there is once again, I believe that there's a lot of, I don't know how to say it. I'm not a conspiracy theorist person, but there's a lot of fake light out there. There's a lot of fake ideas. There's a lot of made up ideas of what light is, what spirit is, and what's real and what isn't. And there's a lot of, I believe that most programs that say, oh, there's any program that tells you that there's good and evil is not real. First of all, that's not real. And there's really only truly light. And so those parts of us that, and I run into these parts of myself still, by the way, so I'm not, beyond this fully. But whenever let's see how to say it. So whenever we're having the experience of light and dark within ourselves and that battle that's going on, and we feel the light and we feel the darkness, to me, that is false. Even that light in that scenario is false. There's another light that comes in that is just pure light, that doesn't have the darkness associated with it. That's not the dualistic light. And to me, that's more the real light. That's the real stuff. And there's no inner battle when that comes through. There's just peace and knowing. And so, and that's a whole other conversation. But I'm not even sure where we went with it, where I was going with that. But I think the pineal, as we work with it and light it up and let it dictate what the light is, instead of us trying to figure out what it is. Let the spirit and the wisdom of the pineal dictate. And just see what happens. I think it'll be really. I think everybody will be.
Kenton, I have a question.
Yeah.
Judy.
Hi, Judy.
This occurred to me. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, please cut me off. I'm rambling.
I just realized there might be a connection between this and your work, which is that in the last few days, I have been strikingly unable to sleep.
Aha.
I mean, almost not at all.
Yeah.
And it occurred to me, and it did feel like something was going on.
Yeah.
I'm wondering whether
probably
might have been from what you were doing.
Yeah. Yeah, probably. And I know Rupa has gone through some things in the last couple, 24, 36 hours. And Rupa, I think a lot of that was perhaps this building as well, too. And you probably get that sense too, Rupa, is my sense. So,
I do.
Yeah.
Yep. That plus whatever the acupuncturist is up to. So,
the combination. Yeah.
The universe is really working it.
Yeah. And, and once again, and I don't want to overemphasize, but I want to make it really clear when there's a desire. The way I work, spirit works through me. It's not really me. It's the universe working through, and it's my deepest desire to be of service. So when you take a step forward, I'll take two with you each time, always. And so the more you have the desire to, don't overreach at the same time, but the more you have the desire to have this happen for you, know that the support is there. Know that it's coming from not only me, but also the group here too. We're all in this together as well, and there is something very powerful about this group. Anyhow, wonderful.
Thank you.
Who else? Anybody else? I think we'll begin to wrap up here. Any other last questions, comments?
Kenton, this is Sutria.
Hi, Sutria.
Yeah, I just wanted to, I don't know, reinforce, I guess. We've spent all this time working on how low my energy feels and how constantly tired I feel. But I have to say that I'm feeling very energized. And when I check in with my thyroid, even my thyroid seems to be a little perkier.
Yeah, it's connected to all this. Yep.
Yeah, in fact, at one point, what I experienced was kind of a beam of energy going from my pineal to my thyroid.
Yeah.
And my whole body, that expression, all dressed up and no place to go, sort of like feeling energized and not sure what to do with it.
Aha. Well, so, enjoy it.
Enjoy it. Cool.
I would recommend not even expending it. Don't try to expend it. What I would recommend doing is bank it. Take that energy and let it incorporate into you. Don't try to spend it. And Rupa, this goes for you too, that kind of thinking. I do this a lot too. When you get some extra energy, doesn't mean run out and spend it. It's like you get a check in the mail. Doesn't mean you have to go out and spend it. Save it. Bank it up.
This is exactly what the acupuncturist Chinese medical guy says to me every time he sees me.
Yeah.
So the universe is delivering this message from everywhere.
From every angle, right. Yeah. So use that energy and incorporate it into your body and let it kind of sit in your field. You don't have to expend it. As a matter of fact, you want to keep banking till you have a lot, really. Then you can start spending in a thrifty way. It's amazing how I got really burned out about 2010, 2011. I hit a wall, and I was doing this work in a corporate environment, but I was working 40, 50 hours a week of intense energy work, and I hit a wall hard. I almost died. It was, I hit it so hard, and it's taken me a while to come back, and now I'm doing it very, very differently, and I can't overemphasize the idea of really banking the energy. Don't spend it, and be thrifty with it when you do. You want to hold on to it. It's what's going to make you strong and healthy and alive, and nothing is more important than that. Nothing's more important than your health. Yeah.
Thank you for delivering that. That gets delivered to me daily. So thank you. I need to hear it. Obviously, I need to hear it. So all of you who are on this call need to support me. Please give me that message. Thank you.
On one condition, Rupa. Can you hear me?
I hear you.
Uh-oh.
Oh, that when I remind you of it, that if there's some way that I can support you in taking it in when I remind you.
Well, you do support me. Your reminder is my support. And by the way, let's hear some more from you, beloved.
Oh, that's all for me right now. I'm just enjoying listening to all of it. It's wonderful. And I'm
okay,
glad
all right. Thank you.
Got my butt moving this morning.
Hey, listen, thank you for supporting me. I wouldn't have gotten this far without your daily support. It's really appreciated. Thank you.
I love you.
Oh.
Go take your steps when we hang up.
Beautiful. Okay. I think we're about done here, Phil. Is anybody else? Any last comments? Nope. All right, everyone. It was wonderful. Truly, truly wonderful. It's really a blessing for me. It's always a wonderful blessing to be working with this group of wonderful beings who've all known each other and been working together. You guys are just amazing, and it's always.
Kenton, two things. First of all, gratitude from all of us to you, which pretty much would go without saying, but it has to be said anyway.
Thank you.
And are we going to make another date? And if so, it would be better to do it when we're all here.
Sure, we can do that. Yep, good idea. Let's and I think at least minimum 6, if not 8 weeks out for this. You want to have some practice in before we meet again, and hopefully some. So let's see, what is today? What is today?
4th.
Today's the 4th, right? Let's go, well, maybe 6 weeks. So
Kenton, some of us may be, some of us may be with Deva.
Oh, okay.
On a retreat in those last weeks of September.
What about the 8th?
8th of October?
I think the 8th of September is better, Kenton, because on the 15th,
well, that's
there
only
is a 3-week thing with Deva that a lot of these people will be caught up with, and they'll be traveling just before that.
For 3 weeks?
They do. It's every year he has a 3-week thing, and this year that's what it is.
Oh.
Well,
we would either have to skip those 3 weeks or go before them.
The other input that I would give about that is he has his first meeting at about 10 and the second at 5:30, and a 2 p.m. meeting works out pretty well because there's a big hiatus between 1 and 5. So if we went from 2 to 3,
no, I don't think that is really workable because we don't know where we'll be at during that time period.
And if it's on a computer, you know how I am about computer work, so I can't rely on my
Okay, let's see. First of all, I think it needs to be at minimum of 6 weeks out. So you're talking 5 weeks. So we're going to go beyond that then. Let's just go beyond that. And that's yeah, that's what I'm getting. So
okay, his retreat ends on the 6th of October, and then some people will be traveling back to where they came from.
Right. How about the let's see, wait, wrong month. Hold on.
Kenton, you're a really good cat herder.
Well, I need it with this group. I know. I've learned. So, how about the Friday the 13th? I love it.
All righty.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Want to do the same time again?
Yeah, actually, yes.
I mean, later would be okay with me too, but it's okay.
Let's do the early. I really like this. We're gonna call it Pineal number 2. All right.
So how does that time convert? What is it? It's
6:30 a.m. Pacific. Oh, you know what? Let's make sure it's Pacific because I don't know what time that. I'm actually on Arizona time where it's Pacific time, Pacific Standard Time. Or do you want to do an hour later, which will be because I'm going to be on Mountain. No, wait. I'm sorry. Let me be quiet.
Wait, daylight savings starts in November.
Okay, we're good. Thank you for that. So it's 6:30 a.m. Pacific Daylight Standard Time. So it's same time for everyone. 6:30 a.m. here, Central Time, 8:30, Eastern Time, 9:30 a.m. Okay?
Yep.
Okay, everyone. Thank you so much. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Good stuff. Let's keep it going.
Thank you.
Kenton, love you.
Okay. Much love.
Thanks so much.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye, Kenton.